Reports have emerged suggesting that Iran may have carried out a major strike in the Strait of Hormuz, targeting a United States naval escort formation that was accompanying a large oil tanker through one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. The reported incident comes as tensions between Iran on one side and the United States and Israel on the other continue to intensify across the Middle East. According to sources monitoring maritime activity and regional security developments, the convoy was traveling through the narrow shipping corridor of the Strait of Hormuz when it allegedly came under a coordinated attack. Iranian sources later claimed that the strike involved a new generation of anti-ship missiles launched from positions along Iran's southern coastline. This development comes at a time when the Strait of Hormuz has already become one of the most sensitive flashpoints on the planet. Ongoing confrontations between Iran and the United States-Israel alliance have pushed the region into a period of heightened military tension, with naval patrols, drone activity, and missile deployments becoming increasingly common throughout the Persian Gulf. According to maritime tracking data analyzed by security observers, the convoy had been attempting to escort a large crude oil tanker through the strait despite rising security warnings in the area. The tanker was reportedly transporting oil from the Persian Gulf toward global markets and was navigating the narrow shipping lane that connects Gulf energy exports to the rest of the world. Surrounding the tanker was a protective formation of United States naval vessels. Sources indicate that the escort group consisted of 3 warships positioned around the tanker as part of a defensive mission designed to protect commercial shipping during a period of escalating tensions. The escort reportedly included an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, and an Avenger-class mine countermeasure vessel. These types of ships are commonly deployed together during high-risk maritime operations. Destroyers and cruisers provide long-range radar coverage, missile defense, and advanced detection capabilities. Meanwhile, mine countermeasure vessels are tasked with identifying and neutralizing underwater mines that could threaten commercial shipping routes. Before we go further into what is being reported about this strike and what it could mean for global shipping and regional security, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Geopolitical Focus so you don't miss future updates on major geopolitical and military developments around the world. Now, according to sources monitoring radar activity and maritime traffic in the Gulf region, the escort formation and the tanker were moving through the Strait of Hormuz at a time when shipping traffic had already declined significantly because of the ongoing crisis. Over the past several weeks, the strait has increasingly been viewed as one of the most dangerous waterways in the world. Many international shipping companies have begun delaying voyages, rerouting vessels, or waiting outside the Persian Gulf entirely due to concerns about potential attacks. The situation intensified earlier this year as the broader confrontation involving Iran, the United States, and Israel began escalating across multiple fronts. Since then, the region has seen a rise in military operations, including missile launches, drone flights, naval deployments, and air patrols conducted by several countries. Iran has repeatedly warned that if the conflict continues to expand, it possesses the capability to disrupt or even close the Strait of Hormuz. Because of these warnings, every oil tanker passing through the waterway is now closely monitored not only by governments, but also by energy markets, shipping companies, and security analysts around the globe. According to observers following the situation, the escort mission involving the tanker was part of an effort to ensure that commercial shipping could continue moving through the strait despite the rising tensions. However, sources claim that the convoy came under attack while passing through the corridor. Iranian claims circulating through regional media suggest that coastal missile systems were used to target the naval formation. For years, Iranian military officials have emphasized their ability to strike naval vessels operating in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz using land-based missile batteries deployed along the coastline. These missile systems are designed specifically for operations in narrow waterways where large ships have limited maneuvering space. According to sources familiar with the reported strike, the attack may have involved advanced anti-ship missiles capable of flying extremely close to the surface of the water at very high speeds.
Military analysts often refer to this type of flight pattern as sea skimming, and it can make missiles extremely difficult for radar systems to detect until the final moments before impact. Iranian statements claim that the weapons used belong to a newer generation of precision-guided missile systems developed specifically to challenge modern naval defenses. These missiles are believed to include advanced guidance technology that allows them to track moving ships and adjust their trajectory during the final phase of flight. Sources monitoring the situation say that the attack reportedly caused severe damage within the escort formation and the tanker it was protecting. Observers tracking maritime signals reported seeing multiple explosions and fires within the shipping corridor shortly after the strike occurred. Monitoring networks also suggested that both the escort vessels and the oil tanker were heavily affected by the incident. Images and tracking information circulating among shipping analysts indicated that large plumes of smoke were rising from the location where the convoy had been traveling. According to sources following the event, the damage may have left the ships either destroyed or critically disabled within the narrow waters of the Strait. Reports also suggested that burning fuel and debris were visible across parts of the waterway following the strike. Iranian media outlets later described the attack as part of what they called a defensive response to what Tehran views as increasing military pressure from the United States and Israel. Iranian officials have repeatedly stated that the country has the capability to target military vessels operating near its coastline and disrupt maritime activity if tensions continue to escalate. In addition to the missile launches, some monitoring networks reported unusual aircraft activity in the region around the time of the strike. Radar analysts noted that several aircraft were observed flying at relatively low altitude near the engagement zone before eventually returning toward Iranian airspace. Some defense analysts believe these aircraft could have been fighter jets providing targeting information or coordinating the timing of missile launches. However, the exact involvement of aircraft remains unclear based on the data. What is certain is that the location of this incident carries enormous global importance. The Strait of Hormuz is widely considered the most critical oil transit route on Earth. Under normal circumstances, nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through this narrow waterway every single day. The strait serves as the main gateway connecting the Persian Gulf to international shipping routes that supply energy to markets across Asia, Europe, and beyond. Because the waterway is relatively narrow, it is particularly vulnerable during times of military tension. Even small disruptions in the strait can have major consequences for global energy markets. However, the current situation appears to go far beyond a minor disruption. According to maritime tracking data, shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has already dropped significantly since the current crisis began. Some vessels are now waiting outside the Persian Gulf rather than risk entering the strait. Insurance companies have raised their risk assessments for ships operating in the region, which has increased the cost of transporting oil and other goods. Several shipping companies have even temporarily suspended certain voyages. Iran has also issued warnings suggesting that oil shipments could be restricted if the conflict between the United States and Israel continues to intensify. Iranian officials have repeatedly emphasized that the country has the capability to control access to the strait if the situation demands it. These warnings are taken very seriously by energy markets and shipping companies worldwide. The global economy depends heavily on the uninterrupted flow of oil from the Persian Gulf. If that flow were significantly disrupted, the impact could spread rapidly across international markets. Energy prices could surge dramatically, transportation costs could rise, manufacturing industries and global supply chains could face sudden pressure. Financial markets often react quickly to geopolitical events that threaten critical energy supply routes. Beyond the economic consequences, the military implications are also extremely serious. A direct confrontation involving naval forces in the Strait of Hormuz has long been considered one of the most dangerous scenarios for regional stability. The narrow geography of the waterway limits the maneuverability of large warships. At the same time, the surrounding coastline provides ideal positions for missile systems, drones, surveillance equipment, and radar installations. For years, military analysts have warned that this combination could make naval forces particularly vulnerable during a conflict. The current standoff between Iran, the United States, and Israel has already increased military activity throughout the region. Naval patrols have intensified. Air defense systems are on heightened alert. Several countries have deployed additional military assets into the broader Gulf region. If incidents like the reported strike continue, the risk of further escalation cannot be ruled out. The United States and its allies could potentially deploy additional naval forces to the region in order to protect commercial shipping routes. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, and surveillance aircraft might be moved closer to the Strait. Military bases hosting American forces throughout the Middle East could also increase their defensive readiness. At the same time, Iran's naval forces and coastal defense units may expand their own patrols along Iranian coastline. Fast attack boats, missile batteries, drones, and reconnaissance systems could be deployed across the strait. Such developments would transform the waterway into one of the most heavily militarized maritime corridors in the world. The broader geopolitical context is also crucial in understanding why tensions have reached this level.